The next thing is romantic imagination and the national feeling. Actually, romantic imagination played a significant role in the growth of nationalism in Europe. And romantic artists, writers, they emphasize the importance of the national culture, history, and tradition. So they celebrated the national heroes, folklore, myths. They also creating a sense of pride and identity among the people. Now we will read line wise what is written over there. Through art and poetry, stories and music, actually they were expressing their views. Culture aided in the formation of the nation's concept, and which aided the expression and the nationalistic views also. So their language also took part a significant role for the formation of nationalistic sentiment, because they didn't have the saying right and they could not express their own views and ideas. That's why they had to do something through which they can express their views. So that was the thing, and also some entertainment. Come to the hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. The 1830s, this is a very important period. The 1830s were a period of severe economic distress. Severe economic distress, what does it mean? The economic hardship we can have in this timing throughout the continent, Europe. And the first part of 19th century, Europe had a massive growth that we have already learned in the in the previous topic. The central part and the eastern part were very much populated. So it had a massive growth in population, which resulted in the increased unemployment. When we do not have a lot of demand but the supply is much more, then we can have this kind of economic harshness. So the unemployment was increased a lot, and that's why we can see the situation of a jobless people. What happened for this reason? The first point, you can see rural residents, they were relocated to the overcrowded slums. That means they didn't have a proper place to settle down. That's why they were forced to go to another place which was overcrowded slums. Small manufacturers, they are also going for a great danger position, because the manufacturers in the towns, they face the tough competition from the low cost machine made goods from England. England was a developed place, and that's why some low cost machine made goods were coming from those places, and from Europe they could not compete the low cost machine made goods. That's why they were also facing the tough competition among those people. Peasants, what happened to the peasants? They toiled under the weight of feudal dues and duties. Sometimes we already have got this news and information that suicidal tendency of the farmers. Why it's happening? The first one is happening for the intermediaries, because of the peasants or the farmers or the cultivators, whatever you can use the word. They are not getting the proper payment. They are not getting the proper income for making the crops, for production of the crops. But in this case, we can see sometimes it's also having that because of the climatic conditions, because of the harsh climatic conditions, lack of rainfall, lack of facilities, the peasants are having the crop failure incidents, and that's why they have to take the loans from the feudals, and the loans are getting in a great interest that they cannot give it or return it back to the feudals. That's why all the properties will go to the feudals, and that is the weight of feudal dues and duties in those parts of Europe where nobility retained control. Food prices also increased a lot, and poor crop years resulted in the widespread pauperism in both town and the country. Food shortages was also the big issue at that point of time. That means production was less, that's why food shortages were there, and massive unemployment for the forced Paris inhabitants into the streets because of they didn't have the food supply production, they didn't have the employment, they didn't have the job. That's why they were forced to stay over the streets.